Welcome back to the channel, another episode of Fiancé and Finances. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate.
My name is Christine. I'm a pharmacist and we own a house together.
So today we want to talk about a pretty popular topic called the fear of failure and kind of share our perspectives about fear of failure. So something interesting about me is I didn't really have the fear of failure, to be honest.
Wow.
I always just thought that I'm going to try it. If I fail, then so what? I can try again or I can do something else. So for me, I never was paralyzed by the fear of failure. And I feel like it just stemmed from me always just leaving my comfort zone, trying new things, and just constantly failing. So that for me, it doesn't matter. Like if I try something and it fails, I can make it better. I can improve it. I know I can do that. So because of that, I never really held myself back from trying things due to fear of failure. Obviously you watch my channel, I've done so many different things, right?
You have.
You
You
know,
tried
I,
everything under the
I
sun.
tried everything under the sun. I was looking at laundromats. I did self-storage, was doing a mobile home park, own apartments, out of state, tried a Amazon dropshipping business.
You failed
I,
plenty, but you still keep going.
yeah, I failed plenty and I've probably lost about maybe $200,000 in some years of my life through some failure, but I've also made built a $6 million net worth by putting myself out there and by trying. So that's kind of always been my experience, my mindset behind fear of failure is that I know others are paralyzed and others have fear, but I don't. So that gives me an unfair advantage to take advantage of some potential opportunities.
That is so true. I think we're like total opposites in that sense. Whereas I have a huge fear of failure in the sense that sometimes I just don't want to try it at all just because I know that I will fail. And by me not trying, it's just kind of safe. I'm like, I won't fail. So I think, but that has led me to realize that ultimately it's because don't have experience. And if I do get more experience, I won't fail. They do say that a skill takes about 10,000 hours to master. So once you have that experience, you are more competent. That means that you will succeed.
Yeah, and that's where people get hung up is they just spend so much time being paralyzed by the fear of failure that they never start versus somebody who actually just starts and takes action will learn along the way and learn a lot faster because you don't know what you don't know until you do it.
Yeah, my dad actually always told me just by starting, you're already 50% way there.
Yeah,
You're
so
halfway there.
just by starting, like you're already there. Like just don't overthink it. Just do something and over time improve it. And I've always took that mindset and approach to everything I've done. Even like social media, like just slow, gradual improvement over time. But the key is just to get started and to get yourself out there and know that how you are today and how you are in like 5 years is going to be completely different. Assuming that you are challenging yourself and trying to grow.
Right. And in terms of failure, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a change. You have to constantly try to improve yourself. Whether, for example, at a job, you want to, if there's like extra licensing or extra exams so that you can stand out, you want to obtain those. As for me, I'm a pharmacist, so I got my BCPS license, which is the board certified pharmacotherapy license, so that I can stand out when applying for other jobs. And because of that, I was able to get other jobs once I got this license.
Yeah, so let's kind of deep dive into why you think you have fear of failure and like where that stems from. So what do you think?
I think it's just me trying to be perfect at all times and just being scared that me, by failing, other people will see me as less perfect.
Yeah, so why I want to ask that is because I think a lot of people are experiencing that, right? Where they don't want to be seen failing because they want to lose this like image of perfection, quote unquote perfection. But in reality, it doesn't exist, right? There's no such thing as perfection.
Yes,
Humans were inherently imperfect
we're flawed. Yeah.
and we're flawed. So, and I get it. Like, it is scary to put yourself out there because people will criticize you.
I think it's also me holding myself to a higher standard. like for example, if my friend did this exact same thing and they also failed, I would like encourage them. I would be like, oh, it's okay, it's at least you tried. But as for me, I was like, oh, why did I even try at the first place? I shouldn't have done anything. If I hadn't done it, then I wouldn't have failed, and I just look bad.
Yeah. So, and that's where people become stagnant is, oh, why even try if I'm going to fail? So it's easier for me just to do nothing, criticize people who are trying and failing
Hmm.
versus like trying to do it myself and fail myself. Right. So that's where it gets really dark and almost like a black hole where, like Olympics was just on, right? And we watched the best athletes in the world. And when someone like fails and like, on the
Mm,
hurdles, they hit knock her, you're like, oh, you suck. But like,
that's so
if
true.
I were to try, I'd probably tear an ACL, attempting to do that.
I don't think
So
I would even been able to jump that high.
yeah, so
Or
like it's easy to sit on the sideline and criticize those who are like failing, but you yourself, you may not be putting yourself out there. So like I said, it's easier to laugh at others who are failing and not do anything yourself. That's the easier route. But for those who are willing to, take that leap of faith and fail constantly, like that's where you see like the most growth.
yeah, I think especially for you, because you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, you're comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, let me try this thing. Let me see if there's anything else I can try. But as for me, I'm just like, oh, I'm scared of trying. That's it. And I don't want to try it, do it or do anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of the typical hallmark of a pharmacist. Unfortunately, like most pharmacists, we're very conservative, very detail oriented, and because we're so detail oriented, we think that we're always right, for better, for worse, right? So that comes with a con because they're like, oh well, I've always been perfect my whole life. I've never made a mistake my whole life. And when I hear people say that, I'm just like, wow, that's really shocking to me because I guarantee you, no human has zero mistakes in their whole life. You're just
Hmm.
either A, deflecting the blame, or B, just not aware of when you're making a mistake and trying to like protect your own ego. So, like for me, I always tell people up front, even though I'm like a pharmacy director or pharmacy leader, like, oh, sorry when I make a mistake. Like, I will actually apologize if I make a mistake. But a lot of pharmacists, they don't have the capacity to do that, to be honest.
Right.
They'll just be like, no, it wasn't me making a mistake. It was the situation that you put me in. That's why I made a mistake. So it's quite
Mhm.
interesting to see when people kind of blame others, right? So like the joke I always say that you're pointing at somebody, like it's your fault. One finger's pointing at somebody, but three fingers are pointing back at you,
Oh, that's so true.
right? So if you
Yeah.
look at the three fingers pointing back at you, that's when you start to grow. So the easier is to blame other people, right? You can blame your parents, you can blame your situation, you can blame your circumstances, or you can take ownership and get rid of your fear of failure to grow. So, anyways, kind of that's our mindset in terms of, the fear of failure. Like for me, I've never really feared it. I just go out there, put out there, knowing that I'll fail and knowing that I'll learn from it. And then for Christine,
I've always been paralyzed by failure. I just wanted to not do anything just so that I won't have that fear of failure. But looking back, and I've actually grown because I've seen the cost of inaction. Because I haven't done anything, I maybe was stagnant, but because I've actually learned from it and I want to improve myself, I have like put myself outside of my comfort zone, and I've seen myself grow so much.
yeah, and like for a recent example is like when you apply for jobs,
Yes, yeah,
right? Like for me, when I apply, I don't care. Like I'll apply for any position, even if I'm not qualified, I'll apply for it.
yeah.
But
Because I met Steven. Steven's
yeah,
always encouraged me to apply, even for jobs I never thought I would get. I've gotten them because of Steven. You just never know what the employers are thinking at that time. Maybe they really value your experience and you just don't know. And that's how I got most of my jobs, just because I put myself out there.
yeah, and you don't, like you said, you can't put your mindset. You don't know what the hiring manager is thinking, but all you control is putting your application out there. And if they don't reach out, then so what? If they do reach out, then you have a chance. And if you get an interview and you don't get the job, then there might be another opportunity later. So that's the way I always kind of felt it. But I know a lot of people like won't even try, like, oh, why even apply? They're not going to hire me anyways. But if you do that, you're already guaranteeing that you're not getting anything by
Right.
not applying. But if you apply, you at least have a shot. It may be a long shot, but at least you have a shot. So, anyways, hopefully you found value from kind of our experience of dealing with fear of failure, both our experience of dealing with fear of failure. If you're looking to buy some multifamily real estate with some guidance, check out the mentorship program down below. Please let us know what questions or comments you have for us. Love to see what you went through and how you kind of overcame fear of failure, or if you're still dealing with fear of failure today. Anyways, please like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.